Okay. This one, students had a lot of questions on. Because there isn't like really an inside function, so there is multiplication, so you should suspect that it is a UDU. And when you're multiplying things like this, you just got to think, is one of them the derivative of the other? And in this case, you could do it one of two ways. Okay? The first way is you could just say, hey, u is sine, and then du would be cosine x dx, which turns our integral into the integral of u du. And when you do that, that's just power rule, so that's going to become 1/2 u squared plus c, and then you just plug back in what u was. So that's going to become 1/2 sine squared of x plus c. Cool? If we did that and we let u be cosine, okay, so remember, we're doing sine of x, cosine of x dx. If we let u be cosine, which is not incorrect either, these are both totally fine, then du would be negative sine x dx. Cool. So that does require us to put a negative on the sign and then a negative out front. Okay? So now we have a negative sine x and we have a dx, so that's going to become our du. So we have negative integral u du. So it turns into the same integral, really, we do the same rule, it's just u is cosine now. So now when we integrate that, we're going to get u squared, but then we're going to divide that by 2, and there's a negative, and then plus c. So we get negative 1/2 cosine squared of x plus c. Okay? And remember, before we got, so this is weird, the other one we got is 1/2 sine squared x plus c. The reason why these end up actually being equivalent is because of the plus c. Okay, remember we said plus c could be any constant, really? Okay? And we have this rule here that, y'all remember this beauty from your trig days, sine squared plus cosine squared always adds up to 1 as long as they have the same angle, the same argument inside of them. Okay? So all that means is cosine squared is really just, you could think of it like this, negative sine squared plus 1. Does that make sense? Or to make it look a little bit better here, we could do negative cosine squared equals positive sine squared minus 1. Same, I'm just moving to negative, okay? Cool. So check this out. Since sine squared of x, which is right here, is just negative cosine squared, well, sine squared of x minus 1, which again, this c here could be any number. So that really just is the same thing as negative cosine squared. Does that make sense? That's why they end up being the same thing. Any things that are off by just a constant number, like if you can add something to something, yeah, something doesn't make any sense. Because sine squared and cosine squared add up to a constant, and there's a plus c in the integrals, they end up being equivalent things. Okay. Now the plus c for each of them would be different, but that doesn't matter right now.